It took so long because the Army had to release, not the Army, the Navy had to release me to say if I was picked up to be an Army officer, then they would let me go and terminate my contract without any penalty. So since COVID was a thing and everything was kind of crazy, that expired the first time. So I had to go back and take my Asvab for my GT score. You have to have a 110, and I had a 109 from when I enlisted in the Navy. So at one point, and they don't do waivers for that. So I had to go back and take it. The first time, I literally got a 109 again. And I was like, are you serious? So then they're like, oh, you have to wait 30 days. I am not a good test taker, like by any means. When I have to take tests, I'm like hyped up, I'm anxious, all that stuff. Crazy. And then afterwards, I'll be like, it wasn't even that bad. But during it, so did that, waited 30 days, went back and took it and passed it. So then I had one recruiter, and then I had another recruiter, and then I went back to the old recruiter. They were in the same office. Like, their first sergeant decided that he wanted to swap my recruiters for some reason. I'm not really sure what happened there. And my second recruiter, she just was not very helpful. So I was grateful. My first recruiter like reached out to me and was like, hey, they said you didn't want to do it anymore. Like, what's going on? And I was like, no, I haven't heard back from anybody. So kind of waiting on y'all. So I got activated for the Navy back to active duty because of COVID. And I was like, wow, okay. So then I was waiting. And then I was in Virginia for like 2 months, and my recruiter called me and was like, hey, you got selected. We need you to be here. And I was like, well, the Navy's got to tell me I can go. Like, I can't cross state lines. COVID was still like this huge thing. It still is now, but not as much. So that was that. So I finally came back to Tennessee where my MEPS station was. And they were like, oh, yeah, you're going to leave in February. And I was like, yes, perfect. I can get in the gym, get myself all the way right, ready to go. And they were like, for some reason, it won't process through for you for February. And I was like, okay. So then it came back and they were like, oh, you have to leave in 10 days for basic training. And I was like, 10 days? So got all my stuff figured out. All that. It was kind of chaotic. Went to basic training. So since so the Army calls them NCOs, non-commissioned officers. When you're E5 and above, you're an NCO. So basically, I came into the Army as an NCO. My recruiter was like, oh, you're going to have your cell phone. You're going to be separate from everybody else. Like, your basic training is going to be a little bit different experience. And I was like, okay, I'm not really tripping off of that. Like, I had deployed multiple times without a cell phone, deployed for like, I did 2.5 deployments on a ship where when you didn't have no cell phone, you didn't always have the internet. So it was like, it ain't gonna be that bad, right? And I had already went through basic training for the Navy. Y'all, when I tell you, those drill sergeants gave me hell. Every other sergeant that I have talked to that has gone through basic training has been like, oh, it's been a cakewalk. And I was like, what? Like the first day we were in red phase. So basic training, it was like yellow phase where we were like in quarantine. And then it was red phase where it like officially started. So the first day of red phase, my senior drill sergeant is like walking the line. They're trying to get in your head. They're trying to break you of like habits. So he comes and he sees me and he's like, ooh, I got an NCO. Do you know the non-commissioned officer? What is it? Oh my gosh. The creed of the non-commissioned officer. And I was like, nope. And he's like, you don't even know everybody wants to wear that. Like went off on me. Like went off. I was like, yep. Crew didn't tell me that. So he's like, oh, you're slaw, you're trash. Like, for me, it didn't hurt my feelings or anything like that. But I was like, I'm going to show him. Cool. Let me use that. So after a while, we kind of grew like a mutual respect once he learned like, oh, she's really here to work. She's really here like about her life. And I think they were confused because they thought I was coming in to be enlisted as an NCO. that they wanted to make sure that I was coming in and doing the right thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. When they found out I was an 09 Sierra, a lot of stuff changed. They were like, oh, girl, we ain't even fooling with you no more because you're on the dark side. So graduated basic, went to OCS. So OCS has 4 companies for like 09 Sierras and in-service people. So people who are in the Army that are enlisted, who have college degrees that want to now become officers. So, and then there's another company that they have that's basically direct commission. So lawyers, doctors, some cyber people. So basically they don't go to basic training. Like their first indoctrination to the Army is there at OCS. And it's way shorter. It's shorter than basic. It's shorter than OCS. It's shorter. I'm like, dang, I should have became a doctor if I wanted to go this route. So we got to OCS, and in a COVID world, everything is different. So I can only speak to what we experienced or what I experienced, because I seen videos that were like, oh, you know, when you get there, you have to run, you have to do an APFT, and this, that, and the other. So come close, because this is what they don't tell you. Baby, you better be prepared to run 4 miles. So in order to class up, if you were active duty, there was like 200 and something people in the company that I was in to begin with, because it was like holdovers and people who had just graduated basic. So, and it was only 160 spots. So it was like 270 people and 160 spots. So it was 135 reservists and National Guard already slotted for this company, because it's a different pot of money. And basically it's like, why would I spend extra money paying you active duty pay when I can get you home earlier? You just sitting there, you know, just chilling. So 137 roughly active duty people, reservists, and then 100 and something active duty people had to run 4 miles in order to get in that class. Let me tell you what the fastest 4 mile time was, because it was my homeboy. 23 minutes, 4 miles. Now, I don't know the math on that, and I'm not going to try, but that's fast. I didn't have to run that because, like I said, I'm a reservist, so I was already slotted for that company, thank God. But you going to run a 4 mile to graduate, so don't get it twisted. So that's that. So you get there, you class up, and after our class, it was like they weren't doing that anymore, because it was only like enough people, like just enough people for those slots, or it was way fewer people. So you might get lucky, you might not have to run 4 miles, but you should be prepared to run 4 miles. So the first thing that I specifically remember, you have like a gold to black ceremony. So you wake up early, and as a platoon, after you're broken down into your platoon, you guys do like an obstacle course together at the footprint, just kind of building camaraderie, kind of just seeing where you are. And that kind of prepares you for Bolton's obstacle course. And basically, like, that's your first thing. You like phase up and you're like, okay, it's real. I am really in OCS. Or that's how I felt. I was like, wow, like I'm on my path to becoming an officer. Whew, child. So then after that, we had a lot of classroom time. We had Bolton's obstacle course, which was super fun. I really enjoyed that. But make sure you know how to climb a rope. So everything that you do in OCS is worth points. And that's how they're grading you. So if you don't know how to climb a rope,